This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
To see where the hazards are, and if there is the hazards coming down the river. The river's flooding in a state now that full-size trees are coming down the river.
A perfect storm, snowmelt, rain, and high tide leading to evacuation alerts for people in Oceanside.
It's 6 p.m. is the beautiful moment for me. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, just play soccer.
How the Canadian Street Soccer Association is giving at-risk folks a chance to play the beautiful game. Plus, Adam finds out how a woman who lost her sight gained the vision to help others. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight in the Oceanside area where floodwaters have the community on edge. A South Parksville neighborhood is under an evacuation order as rivers swell from heavy rains. CTV's Andy Garland kicks off our flood coverage.
An evacuation order has been issued for roughly 80 people living at the Pathfinder Camp Resorts in Parksville.
A decision was made that we would declare a local state of emergency and then work with search and rescue to evacuate those people out of there.
Late this morning, Aerosmith Search and Rescue were going door to door, notifying residents to grab their go bags and leave.
There's about 3 feet of water in the RV resort right now. We're just navigating that with our Swiftwater team and making sure that everybody that needs to get out can get out.
Evacuees will be transferred to a reception center via transit,
where they will be held until the floodwaters rescind.
Aerosmith Search and Rescue were able to utilize their drones, giving Regional District Emergency Management real-time video evidence to make decisions.
We're able to see where the hazards are, and if there is the hazards coming down the river. The river's flooding in a state now that full-size trees are coming down the river.
The River Forecast Center says a combination of the atmospheric river, snowmelt, tides, and importantly history in the area contributed to the flooding.
It tends to start flooding at a lower threshold than other areas in the island, so rivers around are actually looking pretty similar to the Englishman.
The water flooded the only road in and out of the community this morning, cutting off an additional 150 homes past the camping resort.
This specific road is definitely one that floods quite regularly. In the last couple of years, it hasn't been as bad, but historically, almost every year we're down here.
How deep is it? Up to here, about a foot.
One of the homeowners stuck on the other side was able to walk through the floodwaters.
I've seen this so many times. You know, if you stay in the center of the track, you're okay. It's people that are driving through that can't see where they're going that are going to have trouble.
Rain is expected to ease off, and the Regional District of Nanaimo anticipates people could go back to their homes in a day or two. Andy Garland, CTV News, Parksville.
This is a relatively rural area, so that a lot of farms involved, which of course there's livestock. So we do send the RCMP helps out in knocking on the doors and providing the information regarding the evacuation. And then we have a reception center opened at the Cowichan Community Center to receive anyone who wants to come here from the evacuation.
Meantime, an evacuation order sent out earlier today for 11 properties in North Cowichan has been rescinded. Those properties are in the Chemainus Road and Swallowfield Road area. North Cowichan's head of emergency operations says water levels peaked around 11 this morning. As of late this afternoon, water remained high near a bridge on Chemainus Road, so it will be closed until the water recedes further. A man has been arrested and charged with murder following a death at a Saanich home last week. 46-year-old Muhammad Ali Bassar has been charged with first-degree murder. Saanich's Major Crimes Unit was called to a home in the 1600 block of Blair Avenue on January 5th to investigate. Bassar was taken into custody that day, but was released without charge the following day while police investigated. The Vancouver Island Integrated Major Crime Unit took charge of the case and arrested Bassar on January 9th. Yes, court documents show he failed to comply with a court order in October related to domestic violence and was expected to be in court January 5th, the same day of the death. Bassar remains in custody and is scheduled to appear in court later this month. West Shore RCMP are hoping someone can identify 3 suspects who are allegedly using counterfeit U.S. cash. The transactions happened over the course of the last 2 months at a store on the West Shore, resulting in thousands of dollars worth of fraud. All three suspects are described as males with light skin color. One man is between 25 to 35 years old. The other two described as between 35 and 45 years old. The suspects are associated with a newer black Chrysler Grand Caravan with a license plate that starts with T1L. Anyone with information is asked to contact West Shore RCMP. It's called the beautiful game for a reason, but for those struggling with potential homelessness, the beauty of playing soccer may have escaped them. As CTV's Brendan Strange shows us, a new league called the Canadian Street Soccer Association is creating chances for folks to play the game while also making connections to better their lives.
When Eric Milgar was growing up, he dreamt of playing soccer professionally.
I'm from Mexico. I'm live here in Canada 3 years.
Immigrating to a new country with a small family was challenging.
Everything is new for me, the language, we don't have friends.
Eric works 2 jobs to cover the family expenses, and playing organized soccer had to be put on hold. That is, until last year.
I love the soccer.
Eric is one of 15 to 20 players that comes out every Sunday night to Braefoot Park, making up a new team in the Canadian Street Soccer Association.
This is using sport as a tool for positivity, for connection, and to build confidence.
It's a league with only 2 teams in BC, this one now in Saanich and another in Port Hardy, although there are other teams in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Quebec. The players include refugees, people who are actively living on the street, or those experiencing troubles with mental health or addiction issues.
You found yourself in this situation that you're close to or are experiencing homelessness, and that can vary from person to person.
The goal is to provide those who may be struggling with the opportunity to make connections through the beautiful game.
Education, connection with employment opportunities, as well as connection with housing opportunities. We can refer them to organizations that we partner with.
Sunday is 6 p.m. is the beautiful moment for me. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, just play soccer.
In May, the 2 teams from BC will join forces, traveling to Quebec to play in a national tournament.
And from that tournament, we'll put together another team that'll participate in an international tournament called the Homeless World Cup.
This year, being played in Mexico City.
I'm so excited about the tournament, about the guys, about the people.
For Eric, playing on the team has given him the chance to once again chase his childhood passion while making connections in the community that he and his family now call home. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Saanich.
Plans for a new Belleville terminal in Victoria's Inner Harbour is reaching a new milestone. Crews have been busy dismantling the Clipper Ferry building and dock. The province says demolition is now complete. Pile drivers are on site now, and the province says 320 piles are needed for the foundation of the new terminal and wharf structures. The Blackball Ferry says the project is realigning the entrance to the terminal during the dry dock period.
Link is an essential link, and same with the Clippers. And I think this building is a building for generations, and we obviously know that this is the shortest route to the States, north-south. So it's the importance of the connection to Vancouver Island and direct route to the south to USA is not going to get any less important.
As of 2023, the project was budgeted for just over $300 million, and the province says it is still on track to be complete in 2028. Increased frequency and extended hours are now in effect for BC Transit buses across Greater Victoria. The company says the expanded service is to support increased ridership. Some changes include the addition of Route 40, which hopes to improve travel between the Dockyard and UVic area, better connecting Esquimalt, View Royal, and Saanich. The changes also increase reliability on the Saanich Peninsula and access in West Sydney. Along with those changes, Handy Dart service has been expanded, including 7 new buses and additional service hours during peak times. Still to come in the face of a Trump administration pushing to take Greenland.
We need 3 of them in order to have the capability of projecting power and security.
Pierre Poilievre on the island and his pitch to secure the Arctic.
10 degrees in Victoria right now. We do still have some rainfall warnings in effect for parts of the island. We'll take a closer look at that and a closer look at a sunnier forecast for most of the rest of this week. All those details right after the break.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
What makes West Shore Parks and Recreation a perfect place to play? It's our staff, working behind the scenes to keep the pool safe, kids engaged, and programs thriving. So apply today and join our team.
Josh, we've had rain, we've had flooding, we've had high tides, but you said there is sun on the way.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this late last week before I took an extra long weekend. The stormiest weather was likely going to be Sunday into Monday. It has been a wet period here. We'll show you the atmospheric river on the satellite map in a second. It is going to break down, though, most of the rest of this week. Weather looks pretty decent, a whole lot drier. 10 in Victoria right now. It's 11 in Nanaimo and Tofino. You can see this big fire hose moisture making its way in. So there is still heavy rain at times across parts of the island, and rainfall warning remains in effect for some inland areas and then out along the west coast. Most of the rain, in some spots, are already approaching close to 200 millimeters. Most of the rain is almost done. Still going to come down along the west coast overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. This is 11 p.m. It'll break down, it looks like, in Victoria. There might be some patchy drizzle tomorrow morning, but no heavy, steady rain. By tomorrow afternoon, even along the west coast, kind of breaks down to just scattered showers, and certainly inland areas looks a whole lot drier by the time we hit tomorrow afternoon. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, no significant rain in the forecast, just maybe some spotty showers in a couple spots. So by tomorrow morning, Tofino could pick up another 25 millimeters. You could see some heavier amounts here, a little further inland, but most of the rain is almost done. Chance of some late day showers tomorrow in the north. There's one next little system that'll kind of make its way through northern parts of the island there tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. No heavy rain, but a chance of a few showers. 12 degrees for a high tomorrow in the north. Inland areas, chance of some drizzle or light showers in the morning the next couple of days. No heavy, steady rain, though, and temperatures well above average. Average daytime high in the 4-degree range. The actual forecast highs, closer to 10. 11 with some periods of rain out on the west coast, especially early in the day. That should start to back off in the afternoon. Chance of some scattered showers there for early Wednesday morning. A little windy tomorrow, gust to about 40 or 50 kilometers per hour. Comox 11 degrees and mostly cloudy. The average daytime high is 6, so a handful of degrees above average. And look at the sunshine starting to break through already by Wednesday. Nanaimo, same pattern. Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow, high of 12. Clearing late in the day Wednesday, and then mainly sunny to partly cloudy skies for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And in Victoria, 8 degrees tomorrow morning. Cloudy skies, chance of a little bit of patchy drizzle in the area tomorrow morning. For most of the day, though, just mostly cloudy. Get to about 11 degrees for a high, 4 degrees above average. 10s and 11s, it looks like, for the next couple of days. And yes, there is a slight chance early Wednesday, slight chance early Thursday for a little bit of patchy precipitation, but no heavy, steady rain. Storms are all done with by the time we hit tomorrow, and you can see by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a good amount of sunshine starts to break through. CTV Weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So after a soggy couple of days, finally a break.
Ooh, feels like the worst is over. Thank you, Josh. Well, as U.S. President Donald Trump continues to insist the U.S. needs to own Greenland, Canada's security and sovereignty in the Arctic is once again front and center. Federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre told a BC crowd yesterday how he'd handle the issue. CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports.
Inside a BC town hall this weekend, a pitch from federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre on how to protect Canada's Arctic.
We have to be there. We have to dominate our sea, sky, and soil.
Hi, Mr. Poilievre. My name is
Asked
William.
by a constituent how Canada should protect its sovereignty and legal interests in the region in the face of a Trump administration pushing to take Greenland to gain strategic influence in the north, Poilievre pushed for an increased presence.
We've not had an Arctic base since the Cold War. We need 3 of them in order to have a capability of projecting power and security.
We need a new conservative government.
During last year's federal election campaign, Poilievre promised to build at least 1 Arctic base in Iqaluit if elected.
Part of the aim, from my perspective, of the U.S. saber rattling with respect to Greenland
is to get Europe and, frankly, ourselves to move.
This former NATO commander says Trump's talk shouldn't change Canada's strategy, but it could accelerate it.
But we need to continue the program that we have underway, which is to establish surveillance from the seabed to space. And that's and several projects lean into that.
Carney's Liberal government also recently appointed a new Arctic ambassador, will open new consulates in Alaska and Greenland, and has promised to enhance its military presence in the north. While Poilievre's comments to a room of BC constituents comes ahead of a party convention at the end of the month, where he'll face a leadership review.
I think he'll be able to pivot out of the convention and to start presenting himself to Canadians as an option to be prime minister. And he'll start talking about broader themes, broader issues about Canada's place in the world, Arctic sovereignty.
Poilievre's leadership review is a result of the party's failure to win the last election, which per the Conservative Constitution triggers a mandatory review. Party experts expect him to get significant support and remain leader. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada's Prime Minister is heading to China this week on a mission to rebuild ties with one of the world's most populous nations. Trade and security discussions will be on the table, with several sectors like canola, pork, and seafood hoping for relief from punishing tariffs. CTV's Abigail Beeman has the story.
Expect progress on so-called irritants, say Canadian government sources, but not an elimination of tariffs. Canada has been hammered by tariffs on canola, pork, and seafood, which China levied in response to Canadian duties on Chinese EVs. Government officials bill the trip as important in the long game as Canada tries to diversify trade.
Only less than 5% of our commodities trade goes to China. I think that's mostly about politics rather than substance, but the idea is to try and reestablish a good relationship with China. And
former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien was in Beijing last week. The Prime Minister's parliamentary secretary and Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs visited last month.
This has been a building block process. The trip in and of itself is an important stepping stone. I'm confident there will be outcomes and deliverables.
Cody Blois will be back for this trip. Carney also bringing 5 ministers and newly Liberal floor crosser Michael Ma.
There's so many challenges with China, and we have to be careful not to become strategically dependent. Pragmatic engagement is fine. Diplomatic amnesia would be a mistake.
Canadian officials concede there will always be areas Canada and China can work together on, and others we cannot. A coalition of human rights groups issued a letter to the Prime Minister ahead of the trip, urging Mark Carney to put human rights at the center of the relationship.
We haven't had a kind of a coordinated strategy in terms of dealing with China on the human rights, on the repression, and on the foreign interference. I think it's about time we express this.
The Prime Minister leaves for Beijing Tuesday. After China, he heads to Qatar for a bilateral visit focused on trade, followed by the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, from hurt to healing, Adam finds out the story behind a Victoria volunteer who's committed to go forward and love the world. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
See it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Finally, Adam finds out how a woman who lost her sight gained the vision to help others on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
While she's waiting to visit a longtime friend, Teppy Hughes is stopping to make some new feathered ones.
So I was just telling the seagulls to go to the ocean and get some fish.
Teppy can still remember how both animals look, despite smallpox stealing her sight when she was 7.
Now I'm 65 years old, and I don't even look at, right?
But before growing up to become a confident woman, Teppy was a fearful girl.
I didn't even know I was gonna be being loved by anybody.
She endured people who were cruel and others even worse before deciding to transform her hurt by helping others healing.
I can show them how to love people, not to be hurting them.
So she committed to spending countless hours volunteering for charities that help her neighbors in need.
It feel like it's good things you're doing for other people.
And be the best friend to folks like 94-year-old Eugene, who Tepe visits at his care home.
Oh, she's a friendly person.
If you ask Eugene the secret to their enduring friendship, he'll credit their shared humor by making a joke.
She's small. She won't beat me up.
She would beat you up. Yeah, right.
If you ask Tepe the same question, she'll praise his thoughtfulness.
I don't think I could ever find anybody like him.
Although Tepe lost her sight, she says she's gained the vision to make the world a better place in whatever way she can.
Don't live it in the past. Go forward. And if you love with the world will love with you and smile with you.
Adam Swatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
That is it for CTV News Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.